Welcome to our Giving Circle Spotlight series. I am super excited to chat with you today, friend. The Women's Giving Circle of Howard County. You all are the epitome of all things brilliant, celebrating your 20th year anniversary. So I just want to start off with that celebratory note. So Buffy, seriously, we are so grateful and appreciate you joining us today. Let's jump right into this conversation. Tell us about your circle. 20 years in this work, doing all this amazing impact. Give us an overview of who you are, who your members are, and why you all support women and girls.
I will do that. Well, first, thanks for having me. And I'm so honored to not only be here and talking about our circle, but to be representing the Women's Giving Circle of Howard County. We're in Maryland. We're in Howard County, which is in between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. And like you said, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary year, but our mission is building a community of philanthropists to address the needs of women and girls in Howard County. And we've been part of the county, like you said, for a little over 20 years, because the founders met for about a year planning and plotting to bring this circle together. In that time, we've given over $1 million as of this year to nonprofits that focus on women and girls in our county through over 250 grants. We have a $1.3 million endowment, and we have over 1,600 unique donors. And that endowment really is going to ensure that there are funds to support women and girls in our county in perpetuity. And so we're a little bit of a different breed of a giving circle, in that when we started 20 years ago, the founders, of which I am one, I'm very proud to have been there at the beginning, but the founders really wanted to make sure, again, that there was money as part of a legacy to make sure that women and girls were always thought of for women and girls programs. And so for many of our beginning years, we were building our endowment and giving out less in grant money than some of our other counterparts who are also around our age and have the tenure that we have in our communities. But now we're very happy to have this endowment and to be giving out more money. So this year, for our 20th anniversary year, we're giving out $200,000 in grants to programs that benefit women and girls to celebrate our 20th anniversary. So that's a little bit about us and how we started. I will say that as I speak about our circle and giving circles through the years, I mention a meeting that was held about 22 years ago in Baltimore. And I was part of the planning of the meeting. Worked for the Maryland Philanthropy Network at the time, and we were trying to get women together to be thinking about giving collectively. And so we reached out to all of our local community foundations and said, hey, we're having this meeting and we're bringing in Ann Mosley, who at the time was the head of the Washington Women's Foundation. And there was the only known women's collective giving group in our region that we knew of at the time. And we said, why don't you bring women to this meeting to see if they want to hear about this new collective giving movement? And it was a rainy, cold night in Baltimore. And we had invited women from counties all around us. And we were like, nobody's going to show up to this. What are we going to do? Turns out it was a fabulous meeting. Women came from near and far, including from Howard County, heard about what the Washington Women's Foundation was doing in Washington, D.C., the Washington Area Women's Foundation. And from that meeting, the Women's Giving Circle of Howard County started, the Baltimore Women's Giving Circle started, and then several other county circles followed. And so that's just a moment of energy and synergy among women in our region to start a number of women's giving circles.
I love that so much. Women are we are movement makers and builders, and so I resonate so much to your circles investing in women and girls causes and organizations. My Giving Circle, Heritage Giving Fund, does the same thing. Buffy, we just invest in. We have very similar interests there, but I want to hear it from you, because we hear so much about the lack of funding that goes to support women and girls, and Giving Circles really clearly are proving as a very powerful way how to, one, engage women around these issues, but then also to flow the money to the causes that support us. And so why I just want you to speak a little bit more into that gap and the need of why it's important for us to invest in women and girls.
Yeah, well, I think what I love so much about giving circles is that in many respects, there's really no wrong way to do one, right? It's about who's at the table, where their interests lie, and then the networks of women or people that they bring into the circle to focus on things that they care about. And so the founders 20 years ago were women who still are, and at the time were leaders in the community who were kind of feminist in nature, who really thought about not only the fact that less than 2% of charitable dollars each year goes to women and girls programs or organizations, but also the fact that, especially 22 years ago, we really wanted to focus money to kind of elevate the voices and of not only women giving to other women and girls, but to those who are running programs that are benefiting women and girls, and then women and girls themselves. So it's a continual chain of opportunity to, again, lift programs, voices, opportunity, giving, and then, pooling our dollars so we can have a greater impact together than we might otherwise have alone. And that was so attractive to so many women, obviously in our community, but all over the country. And I think women really loved at 22 years ago and still love today the idea of not only having a greater impact together, but learning together, sharing, networking, socializing, celebrating, all the things that come naturally in a collective giving opportunity like we have with giving circles. And so not only are we celebrating that today, 20 years later, but I think that, to your earlier question, is something that has helped to sustain our circle. I think, we have a lot of people who were at the table at the beginning who are still participating today, but we have so many new faces and women and people who've moved into the community, or people who've been there for a long time but never participated, and everyone in between who are participating on some level in the circle. And so we've grown exponentially. We've learned a lot, and we're really looking forward to the next 20 years.
Well, growing and thriving is definitely what we all see, and I think, and just I so appreciate you even lifting up just like the demographic, how folks are moving into the community and they're looking for folks be wanting to connect and find their village, and so giving circles are such a great entry point for that because there's no prerequisite, right, Buffy? We can just enter in and safely learn and gather and have some fun. And I would imagine that's your secret, pretty much your secret sauce of how you all are sustaining your giving circle, is that y'all seem like y'all have a lot of fun. So what other secrets, what other advice would you give to organizations that are looking to scale and to grow their giving circle as you all have?
Yeah, we do have fun. Thank you for noticing that. I think that we do. And at the same time, we take the work very seriously. And so I think it's a balancing act and a combination to be able to do that. And advice, for other circles, I think would be to just really understand your community, your nonprofit partners. I mean, we really do not consider those that we fund grantees as much as partners in the work that we're doing together. And so a lot of the women in particular who run some of the organizations that we fund are part of our circle in some capacity as well. And so, but I think, it's a combination of providing opportunities for women to engage that are meaningful for them across the board. So it's not just giving money, but it's coming to events, learning, sharing, networking, socializing, celebrating, all of those things. And so we have an events committee, and we think through, we always promote that we have 4 types of events, and we label them as we're getting the word out. So some events are networking, some are learning, some are celebrating, and then some are giving. And so we have some opportunities for women to give together, bring their families potentially to do something together. So we try to give a balance of rolling up your sleeves and getting involved opportunities, from giving money, attending events, to being on a committee, and more.
And thanks for even lifting up the committee piece, because a lot of people don't think that, giving circles, we have some structure. A lot of us, especially big giving circles like yourself, where the committees is where the work is happening. And so I love that you all have like structured your events around those 4 buckets to make sure that you have a very diverse level of events that engages all your members. That's definitely a best practice. Now, you all are with the Community Foundation of Howard County.
Right.
And we know that a lot of circles are hosted by community foundations, and individuals that's looking to start giving circle, they might be like, well, how did you get started? How did y'all approach them? How does the relationship, or what, it might look daunting to kind of start, Buffy. So I want you to pull that out. Like, how has the relationship been with the Community Foundation of Howard County? And just give us some information on how you all started and what that relationship and the benefits of that you being hosted by the Community Foundation has provided for your circle.
Sure, sure. Well, we're very fortunate that one of the original founders of the Women's Giving Circle at the time was also the president and CEO of the Community Foundation. So she was very invested in helping to start and grow the circle. So that just set a course forward for our circle to be very tied to the Community Foundation. Now, of course, we've been around for 20 years. And so, by the growth of our circle, sometimes, we got ahead of ourselves in some ways and had to kind of backtrack to make sure our structure was appropriate, or, whatever it might be. Sometimes the Community Foundation, whether it was change of leadership or whatever it might be, was able to provide certain opportunities. I will say that it has been an incredible relationship. I'm so glad that we started at the Community Foundation. It has done everything for us, from at the beginning lending credibility to the work that we're doing. The professional staff has been there for guidance in terms of legal questions, or grant making guidelines, or national opportunities, or partnerships with the nonprofit sector, or whatever it might be. There's been and certainly fiscal management as well of our circle. So we rely heavily on the strong relationships that we have at the Community Foundation, not just with the president and CEO, but with the staff across the board. And we're proud to be a fund of the Community Foundation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Just a testament to collaboration. And when it's
Exactly.
when it's not broke, don't fix it. Let it live. And so I love that so much. Well, I want to just turn inward to you. I would say, I'm gonna call you by name, Buffy Beaudoin-Schwartz. We give you your flowers today as one of the godmothers of this movement. You've been around from the inception, implementation. You're out here advocating for giving circles, talking about the issues, just talking about the importance of collective impact. And we just appreciate your voice and your advocacy and your time and talent, everything that you're doing, not just within Howard County, but just for the field. So I want to ask you, what keeps you inspired? You're a mom, you're a fellow mom, you have a mother of 4, I'm sure you're working and juggling all of this community work. So then what keeps you inspired as a leader in this work to keep going?
Well, thank you for saying all that. And, it's a great question. And I think it really is the energy and the synergy, again, particularly with women, when you work together and you roll up your sleeves and you make stuff happen, right? I mean, I have been doing that in my entire career, obviously working with many others besides women as well. But just generally speaking, I think this partnership and camaraderie among women who want to get stuff done and then utilize their time, talent, treasure, other resources to make sure that it happens has been what energizes me and has sustained my desire to be part of the collective giving movement from, for the last 25 years or whatever it might be. And I will say I was an original founder of our Women's Giving Circle and a past chair, and I'm honored to be our first professional staff person in terms of being our executive director now. So that was really coming full circle 20 years later. But I'm also really honored to be on the board of Philanthropy, which is our national women's giving circle and collective giving a network and organization, and to be partners with Philanthropy Together. I mean, I think that also is what really inspires me to continue to do this work. And I'm sure it's the same for you and so many others that we work with, right? We get to learn from each other, learn about one another, get great ideas, share all sorts of both challenges and opportunities that we can bring back to our circles. So I think also working on the national level and working with so many others and meeting so many people who care deeply about our local communities, I think is what has really fueled me to keep going in this work.
Beautifully said, friend. Well, thank you so much, Buffy, for just being here and sharing the story of the Women's Giving Circle of Howard County. If you had one lasting parting piece of advice for someone who is looking to start a giving circle, what would that be? And then also, shameless plug, how can folks connect with you, keep engaging with you? How can they support the work that you all are doing?
Great. Well, I think, what comes to mind is just follow your heart and then communicate. As someone with a communications background, I just can't say enough. And whatever it is that we're all doing is to be thinking about communicating. And I don't mean sending press releases. I mean, talking to the people that you're working with, connecting with the organization that you're tied to, talk to your nonprofit partners and really roll up your sleeves and partner together, talk to the people who are doing good work and just communicate along the way. And that just makes life a lot easier for the work, I think, in philanthropy, but, across the board in all sectors. And then in terms of getting in touch with us, again, we're in Howard County, Maryland, and our website is www.womensgivingcircle.org. It is the single best resource we probably have in terms of the different ways people can give, the events that we have, and our history and our background. And if anyone's interested, you can certainly contact me as well. But thank you for helping me to tell our story.
Truly a pleasure, friend. Keep up the great work. Keep shining. And again, happy anniversary to you and all the beautiful women in Howard County that's making moves and that's connecting, communicating, having fun, and just making our community so much better. So love to you all. We'll see you all soon at the next Giving Circle Spotlight. Join us for the next one. See ya.